bienvenue mes amis. Hello and welcome. On est là pour le perspective académique. C'est la nuit. On est là en France et on est à la Louvre. But we are here. And I want to bring my friends Joshi and Mad Magical on here with me as we round out the night in this beautiful night in the countryside of France. It is wonderful. Welcome, my friends. Welcome, welcome. I hope you are ready for some wonderful giving and some posh circumstances with the academic perspective here. No, that's why it's night. That's why we're outside. You guys got me kicked out for the day, so my day pass got ripped up in front of me.
We
okay?
appreciate your sacrifice. You know, we know that everybody who lives in France just gets to go in.
This job is taxing, okay? This job is taxing. You see, my mustache is not as full as it was before.
So we've been stressing you out so much, your mustache is not as full?
My friends.
Oh.
Yes, maybe. Who knows? It is France. Anyways, my friends, you guys have some awards to give today because the Louvre, even though you guys got kicked out, somehow are allowing you to put an award in there for some players. Rien d'académie. Okay, so Joshi, I'm going to give you the stage here outside on the street next to the Louvre, and you're going to draw me a wonderful award to give today. So go ahead, monsieur.
All right, here we go. Well, there's a certain player that I was talking about a lot during that last game. So let me go ahead and start by creating an outline.
Oh, the
lines.
The lines.
Okay, now the fill tool is necessary in order to make my job a little bit faster. But this will all make sense here in a moment. As
it is beautiful.
You might think of like, what is that? Is that a bridge? You know, what is he drawing? But
it might be. That's the beautiful thing
you
about
never know.
awards.
But the big thing that you have to pay attention to is what is walking down the red carpet, other than Copy, laying down.
It looked like I think you called
a
him
segue. That is what we like to call it, and I would like to present Copy the red carpet award. Able to lay down the package every single time, and it looks so appetizing. People wanted to walk down at instinct, realized that it was a little bit hotter. Maybe this red carpet's made of lava. Who quite knows? But the whole point is, Copy had so much effect throughout this game with his ability to create a large amount of space throughout every single one of these fights, and that's part of why Copy. You know, we asked him to step up. He does in a big way. He gets to take his walk down the red carpet.
Ah, mon ami, keeping it spicy as we love to do in France. Oh, j'adore. My friend, that was a wonderful award to give away. And lovely to give it to Capi. Merci, mon ami. Merci, mon ami. Okay. Now.
What?
Mad Magical. What do you have for me? What is going to get us back in the good graces of Le Louvre?
Oh, look, I'm not going to say that it's going to get us back in the good graces of the Louvre, but I will definitely...
That is what we're here.
Look, I can get back in. You can stay outside, have some escargot, some snails.
That was beautiful. I agree.
So here we go. I'm gonna draw you something nice here. So here we go.
It needs to be cultured.
Well,
okay?
That's not what I wanted to do.
That is that's
not what I wanted to do. It didn't fully.
C'est rouge.
There we go.
The artist has some next level.
I got that, and so now we're gonna do this.
It's a heart.
The shapes and everything. It really reminds me of high living in France. Oh, we're getting typing. That's a little bit lower class.
You're gonna have to deal with it.
It's okay. We're not here to judge.
So, this is Magical's heart. I'm giving this one over to take over because he won my heart. Even though he's not the winner of the game, but he won my heart because how well he did on that Ari. It was a difficult thing to watch where he was doing so well, but unfortunately wasn't able to pick up the game because on the other side, Copy was also playing so well on that Corki. So I gotta say, take over. You've won my heart from that game.
Ça c'est trop.
It's a love story.
C'est Sophia! It's the romance! I can't.
I've broken him.
Thank you, Magica! Thank you! Goodbye, my friends. I'm gonna go put that in the loop. They will let us back in. Goodbye, my friends.
All right, well,
Goodbye.
bye, Frenchman. It's always good seeing you. Omelette du fromage. I forget. I don't know how to say goodbye. So
His mustache is falling out. He's just so overcome with emotion. Hopefully he can grow it back by the time we see him next. But man, it's just you do know Valentine's Day was last week, right?
Valentine's Day's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You know, maybe next time you should just let him know that you're free on February 14th. You know, the 14th day of February, you will be free for takeover. And his Ari.
But what if I just want to like sleep that day instead?
Does that mean you're not free?
Oh, I'm just sleeping. But you know what I wasn't sleeping through was that last game.
Oh, yeah.
That last game was a lot of fun. That was an exciting knife's edge type of game where it was back and forth. Oh, either team could have taken it, but in the end, Cloud9 were the ones who came out victorious. And a lot of that was on copy, on that Corki, especially. I think it was not the last. No, it was the last package where he split up TSM so the rest of Cloud9 could pick them off one after another.
And we got to see quite a bit of good play, but in order to talk us through that, we do have our wonderful host rejoining us, Monsieur Mazel, once again coming to the desk in order to...
There he is.
Hello.
Hello, welcome back.
Need me. You need me to talk about the next thing.
We are your humble sheep.
Talking about the previous thing. That was almost the longest game of the split. I messaged our producer Kelsey and I was like, "This is gonna be the longest game of the split."
It wasn't quite. It was close.
It wasn't. I jinxed it.
It's all your fault.
It was
It wasn't quite. Almost. It was almost. But that was a long game, guys. Thank you guys for the cast. It was incredible to keep the energy up that entire time. But I just got to get a breakdown here. I mean, that was a roundabout way to come to a victory for Cloud9.
I really had to give a lot of praise to TSM because one of the great ways that you can punish these teams with solo frontline or no frontline is by setting up situations where they have to walk into you and you have crowd control. It's why Syndra was such a strong champion for so long despite not being that great in solo queue and a lot of people railing against it on Twitter and Reddit. Aura serves a very similar purpose in a lot of ways. You walk into Fog of War and you're face checking a charm where it is basically impossible to miss that skill shot, and suddenly Takeover just gets a ton of free kills. He's constantly on flanks, constantly a Fog of War, and he made TSM come within a hair's breadth of actually taking down Cloud9.
It's I can't believe that it got so close so many times. Those team fights were insane. For me, it was the damage registration on the last fight for Cloud9. Like all of a sudden you just saw two people get obliterated. It's like what could have possibly happened there? It's the Rockets.
Well, it was the Rockets, but it was
laying in the damage and everything else laid on top.
King was able to bounce back so well. I mean, it also helps as Caitlyn when you have full build. It makes it a lot easier to be able to play the game, but he still was doing a great job in the late stages of the game with his positioning to go from 0-5 to 6-5. In the matter of what was it, like 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe
that was a long game.
I don't know. That was a long game. Time is an amalgamation. But for me, it was also like the fact that we talked about the mid lane so much. And then what, as you guys said, it was like a duel from the mid lane in the game because it was absolutely a lot on the shoulders of
that's why Takeover won my heart. He did such a great job on the charms. Blowing up Darshan before he even had a chance to ult. It seemed like he was about to carry TSM over the finish line, kicking and screaming, but it was then Copy on the other side, doing the same thing for his team. Those packages were so perfect to set up the team and make sure they could get back into that game.
And creating space is, all the mid laner's job, right? Typically, we look at a lot of control mages coming through using the big shock waves or the gravity fields or the scatter the weaks in order to make sure that there's enough space for your AD carriers to actually hit. But this time, both of them were kind of doing it with their bodies. Takeover and Copy were taking turns diving in to the team before dipping right back out because they both have multiple dashes as long as the package is available. And so it means that both of them were all over the place and constantly ready to brawl.
Well, guys, we will see if the Cloud9 storm continues to rage or if TSM Academy can come back with a 1-1. Maybe have us all wear ties tomorrow. We'll see as Champ Select is ready. So, guys, take it away.
Thank you, Mazel. It is always fantastic having you around. I love your little segments as well as just having you talk us through a lot of what had taken place. We'll have him back for an interview after this game. He is our shepherd, and we are now lost sheep. But we got to make sure that we're not too lost when we get into Champions Select for our second game of our second series, day 1 of week 6. That first game between the C9 and TSM was back and forth. It was so close from going either way. I'm curious to see how TSM approaches this draft and whether or not they want to do anything differently.
And it's interesting to me to see that both these teams are going to be remaining on the same side of the map. I would have expected that whoever comes back on the second time would pick something different, but I really don't know who picked sides for game 1. Like, I think Cloud9 should be rather happy to stay on the blue side, but is TSM coming through, banning the Karthus? I'm expecting Evelyn ban once again and a Caitlyn pick in order to maintain our trend.
Yes. Well, there is a bit of a fuck of the trend from the side of C9 because instead of Thresh being banned away, they took away Jinx. They saw Instinct as being a problem in that game, which, to be fair, definitely was, with how much damage that Jinx was able to pump out in some of those fights as well to take over on that Ahri, which now means without the Jinx, what do you want to grab instead for the spot lane? Do you even want to grab anything immediately, or do you want to get Volibear for Hyper like you did last time?
I'm shocked you're not the one saying it's going to be Volibear for Shen Yi, right? This is something that you can play all over the place.
Look, yes, but the Phelios is there. The Thresh is open. I'm not expecting that. In fact, I would expect more. Instead of grabbing this Aphelios, you grab Thresh to make sure, even if Caitlyn doesn't want to pair up with that and would much rather have something like Lux, you make sure, no matter what, you're not losing that champion.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at how this handshake has typically gone, where it has been 180 carry, other 80 carry, because once one team has picked that role, you don't need to expect something different. They're not going to switch it up on you, right? They still need to pick an 80 carry. And so Caitlyn Lux comes through, and it looks like, not going to be going for the Thresh, just going directly for the Nautilus. And this is a champion that a lot of people that I've been talking to, color casters, coaches, analysts, Twitter people on Reddit are starting to be like, I don't really understand why Nautilus is being picked nearly as often as it is. It doesn't do quite as much damage as it has in the past, but TSM very happy to continue playing, and Shen Yi is definitely a playmaker, and his willingness to play at level 1 with his champion makes it a lot more scary than a lot of other Nautiluses we've seen so far.
Look, it only doesn't do damage because people aren't building it to do damage.
True.
Build AP, guys. Come on. Don't be cowards.
Unfortunately, you cannot build a rocket belt at level 1. Magical. It would take...
Oh, with that attitude.
It would take a lot of kills from the other team, and by that point, I think you probably would actually level up.
That's a good theory. That we should try. We should test that.
Yeah.
See if that. Yeah. See if it is possible to get a rocket belt level 1 without leveling up with all the kills.
I don't know if this is still true, but I know Shaco boxes used to not give gold or not give experience.
No experience. Yeah.
So if that's still true, you could probably just kill a ton of Shaco boxes and call it a day.
Okay. Okay. You know what? I like this idea. I'm going to test this out in the lab later. But for now, we got to look at what is happening here in the draft. We have the Corki, Victor ban. Glad to see both of those taken away. But then on the other side, the Vayne denied from Viper in this top lane. So Akali, something that he likes to play, but also so does Takeover. The flexibility they now have in this draft will make it so that on the final stages, when they finally lock in the last champion, C9 don't know exactly what is going to be where.
Yeah, it's very, very nice that you have the ability to flex things around. The Ahri still is available, and the thing about Akali here is that it has a lot of targets that it can potentially go for, right? It is very flexible because there are 3 squishies on the members of Cloud9, but again, kind of similar to what we were saying earlier, right? Bradley was the one who brought out the Scion previously, and now, I mean, the answer was Vayne before.
Is this an Akshan angle?
I wonder if it is. It definitely feels like a Viper-style champion, but like the matchup is fine, but it's not like insane to play. And I feel like the Gnar very, very kind of catch-all. But the thing is, I look at this TSM composition, I feel like the damage is a little on the low side, trying to go up against a double frontline of Scion Udyr, right? If one of these was like a bruiser, like a Jarvan or a Xinjiao or something, I'd say that they have plenty of damage, but this is 2 tough tanks to try and take down.
That is true. So looking at TSM and where the damage is really going to come through, Takeover on a colleague will have some damage onto the squishier members, but Malice, Darshan, especially Malice, point and click stun with the bear form, it's going to be hard for Takeover to find those angles. So our eyes are back onto Instinct, how he can position, how he can utilize the different gun setups in different stages of the game to actually be able to really set up the rest of the team with how much damage he's pumping out.
And if Takeover can, override our expectations and take down Copy, King, and Isles, then all power to him, right? Takeover had a really good game 1. Unfortunately, just wasn't able to find the last couple of picks to win the game. So TSM are now kind of backs up against the wall. They're up in a very similar position where they are threatened to be outscaled by the members of Cloud9, and they need to create some plays in the early and mid game to make sure that Cloud9 do not win the same way that they have half of their games, by dragging it out and out-farming you.
Yes, but I still have my eyes drawn back into the mid lane. Poppy playing Orianna, a great team fighter, especially when you have meatballs that you can toss your ball on top of, but then take over for these flank angles to deny someone like Copy from getting those crucial shockwave ults or getting an immediate assassination onto King. There is no way King can bounce back into this game. I still have to look at them. We looked at them last game as our critical members, and here again, they're still the members I am really looking at and how they're going to set up the entirety of each squad.
Well, once again, potential shenaniganery coming out. Cloud9, all 5 members going bot lane.
Yes, but this time, Shenyi is not there to place down that ward and spot out this movement. So with Instinct kind of hovering nearby, might be able to spot them out if he hangs out in that brush, but he left
the timing.
vacated without placing down a ward. They have no idea. Even though Shenyi will get his recall off, okay, it could have been dicey for the side of TSM, but they both timing on each side a little bit off, so no punish on either side.
Yeah, confidence coming out from TSM to move forward and get a couple of deep wards in, because they're saying, hey, if Cloud9 does the same thing, there shouldn't be anybody here. And they are rewarded for paying attention to what happened in the first game. Now, this time around, at least Cloud9 gets a little bit of vision control in the enemy side of the jungle, but it'll kind of depend, right? Because both junglers will have a really good idea on where the other one is going to end up being.
But see, I like this play from TSM. We saw it last game with the ward right outside of Wolves to spot out where Malice is. This sets up Hyper, where he knows he's not going to be able to keep up with Malice in his clear speed. So instead, he's getting information. He then will be able to utilize that on which lane he wants to look for an early gank for, because I'm expecting to see Hyper try that, to look for maybe even bot lane, try to set them up right out of the gates.
Well, if he goes down towards the bottom lane, it will definitely play a lot towards what Shenyi has been doing so far, right? With all the aggression, if either jungler comes down here, it does mean that it could get turned on its head. But this is the first time I think I've seen Shenyi play Nautilus and not just get a really big trade on the first level, because it looks like King and Isles playing a little bit more defensively, making sure that they can play forward, but not necessarily give over any opportunities for these big hooks to really threaten the backline.
Instinct and Shenyi, the low range that you have when you have your Severum gun out as Aphelios, even if you have the Calibrum, your sniper rifle to get good poke, he just wants to stay healthy. He knows he's going to get poked out by King and Isles. Instead is just staying as healthy as humanly possible and not looking for that play, as you mentioned. Maybe that's why. It's just the change of who he's with against this Caitlyn and Lux. They don't want to get punished.
True. I mean, there's just a lot of damage available to Caitlyn and Lux that is virtually guaranteed, right? Their combos are very natural, whereas Instinct on the Aphelios doesn't have the same kind of early game damage. He needs to get right on top of you to press the button with the Severum, the red gun, where you just, dual wield both guns back and forth. But it's a lot harder to get that set up than it is to do Caitlyn Lux thing. So Takeover, at the same time, going to be doing a pretty decent job clearing out all of the wave underneath his turret. Oh no?
That was a lot of damage from Copy. Takeover was doing a decent job in clearing out, but then Copy, as you were saying that, chunks him down to 25% health and forcing out a lot of the health pots to stay somewhat relevant in this lane and not get forced into an early recall.
Yeah. Malice also coming towards the top side. Going to be checking out a little bit of what's going on. Pings towards the Krugs, and Darshan now has a bit of a push, so Malice might be fancying his chances here with his bear.
Especially with how low takeover is. If a fight breaks out and it's long enough, you could always have copy nearby. But here's the fight between the two. Malice taking a lot of damage, but Hyper is able to get a lot too. The flash away, but here comes Viper looking for the play. Doesn't jump over the wall because Darshan was there to absorb a lot of the pressure that Gnar could have placed.
Good move from Darshan, not going to be giving up any minions on the backside of that. And Malice can just go back towards the bottom lane, but yeah, you're on vision there, buddy. Going to be going back towards the Gromp, making sure that he continues to stay ahead in farming. Takes away a couple of these small Krugs away from Hyper, so not a big lead coming through, but the first jungle lead that we will be seeing this game.
And a lot of that still is down to how the top side of the map is playing out for Cloud9. Poppy is keeping takeover pinned underneath the sturt. Even if he's expended a lot of mana in order to do so, he can recall soon. He's not going to be too threatened by takeover. And this is giving Malice freedom. Darshan's doing something similar to Viper, who tried to back up Hyper, but then was chased down by Sion, a big, beefy front line, who in the early stages of the game has a lot of good base damage.
We'll see how effective Darshan will be up in that top lane, because eventually, as Viper gets more levels, he gets more range in the mini Gnar auto attacks, and so it becomes easier and easier for him to kite things around. We're already seeing Viper having a pretty darn good time in this lane with his better wave control and more precise ability to hit the minions, whereas Darshan, you know, he's hitting things with a hammer, kind of literally, right? He just brings the entire axe down and he hits basically the entire wave or none of the wave. It makes it very hard to be precise with your control over the top lane, and something that Viper will be very excited about going forward is just having this pretty large CS lead.
And he even gives the thumbs up to Darshan on his way out, saying, yeah, I know you're not going to be able to do much, but Darshan, with that recall, comes back in with a Bramble Vest. Even if it's not, you know, the best thing, it at least gives him a little bit more defenses to fight against Viper, who uses that Gnar ult right in the wall. The as you that's so aptly just said right there, and in the previous game, more of a I'm mega. It will be back up by the time I actually want to fight you. So
yeah. I mean, this is one of the very few cases, right? I'm a huge proponent of poke ults on Gnar. Like, you just say like, well, I will be mega again by the time this is up, so it doesn't really affect me. You can basically use it on cooldown. It will mean that for Viper's next mega, he will probably not have his ultimate, which is the only time that's going to happen for pretty much the entire game. But it is a small window where Darshan might have a little bit of an opportunity to push Viper around, but he'll really need Malice there in order to make that happen. So as the map just kind of calms down, we do note that there's a large lead in the top lane for Viper. Oh,
nice dodge. Nice sidestep there from Viper. Yep. Continue there, John.
Now that there's a no kill threat on the top lane at all for Darshan over Viper, the other big lead that we're starting to see is King and Isles, just as we were expecting in our first game where Caitlyn Lux creates a ton of pressure. It's happening again this game.
Yeah, and it's working out pretty well. I would like to see, if we could get into the bot lane, how many plates have been taken, if any at all.
2.
Wow, they've already gotten 2 plates. For King and Isles in the spot lane really are keeping both Jinyi and Instinct pinned under the sturt, and this is denying Jinyi what we've seen from him in a lot of the victories TSM have been able to get, which is his ability to playmake, to set up early into the game the rest of the members of TSM.
Yeah, there's not a lot of opportunity for Shenyi to roam around or make these big plays or even do anything, because King and Isles appear to be doing a good job stacking up waves and crashing them so that Instinct and Shenyi cannot move, cannot do anything. But Isles coming to the mid lane while he waits for his AD carry to go back towards the bottom side of the map to potentially find takeover.
Ooh, a nice shockwave, but the flash away from takeover. Isles showing up in that mid lane. The freedom they have from how well they're doing in the spot lane, even to help out Copy there. That was a great play. It was a great shockwave, and I was even going to ask you before that what takeover needs to do, since it is a difficult lane right here against this Orion, constantly getting shoved in. So should we expect that he's going to try to vacate this lane soon and impact the side lane?
Yeah, probably. I mean, now that the shockwave is down, takeover does have some kill threat, but choosing to go with the flash and not the ignite means it's a little bit more difficult for this Akali to find these solo kills. I think I'm expecting him to start moving around with Hyper a little bit more towards the bottom lane so that they can, you know, just dive King and Isles. Really upset the fact that King and Isles are constantly forward by attacking them.
Looking towards the bot lane. Have to keep our eyes on that if that's going to happen at all for Takeover. For now, he's still underneath the start, having gone back to base, has the Hex Tech Alternator, a little bit of extra damage, but had to go for Merc Threads instead of going for the actual damage to really be able to fight back against Copy early on because he was that threatened by this Orianna.
Yep, King and Isles, or mostly just Isles, coming around to see if they can help Malice take down the blue buff from Hyper. But look at this, Takeover on his way down.
Here he is. They spotted out. King's pretty far up. Took him a minute to actually realize that everyone was on their way into the spot lane, so he takes a lot of harass from Instinct with the TP behind. Poppy is here to defend, and that is why TSM book it out of the fight.
Okay, well that's a free summoner spell coming out from Copy, right? That does mean that it will not be available for the upcoming dragon, so Copy needs to be a little bit more cognizant of when he does choose to back. But easy pressure ends up coming through down there in the bottom side of the map, and Takeover, while he gets nothing for it, will build a small advantage here in the mid lane, and another lane where you don't expect them to be having a large advantage. Takeover's laning this season, or at least this series in particular, has been quite good going up against Copy.
It has, and this is one of the reasons why we're praising Takeover in the last game. And look at how well he did in that previous game. But let's put a pause on that. Flash from Viper to dodge away from Darshan's unstoppable onslaught. Now he's getting dope. He's near getting that Mega, trying his damnedest to get that back up with the red buff burning, but he will survive. And now Hyper's turn to back up his top laner. He's got the wee woo going, and he's chasing down Malice. He dunks on him for first blood.
Wee woo squish. Right? Just very difficult for Malice to do much of anything in that situation. With just the Ghost, he has to run away. But an overextension, right, it is very difficult for them to actually take down this Gnar at this point in the game. With the Phage, he's got a lot of extra healing coming through. The HP is there, and if Viper is able to create this much space on his own, it's just a matter of time before Hyper does join them. But Takeover, once again, shooting towards the bottom side of the map, trying to find even more for the members of TSM while Malice is off the map. And the game, you know, looks very similar in some ways to what we saw last time, right? TSM creating some space and forcing Hyper to back up, but Shen Yi, I feel, has been the biggest difference in that he's way calmer this time around than he was last game.
He is. And maybe that is more of how they've had to adapt not having Jinx in the spot lane. A little bit less comfortable for the side of Instinct. We've seen them have some of his best performances on that champion, but at the same time, no one feels like it's fine. They might be slightly down in CS, but they're okay with this. They're getting some items. They're trying their best to hold on. The biggest problem is the fact that King and Isles have nearly fully taken that turret in the bot lane without any intervention, really, from their jungler.
Yeah, that's where the gold lead is mostly coming from in this bottom lane, if we chance to see it. King and Isles, yeah, about 400 gold up, and most of that coming from those plates that we have been seeing. At the same time, TSM, they gave up the first dragon, but they are now in control of the second one, going for the Hex Tech Dragon. And Malice looking to come around. King has to stop his back in order to make sure he can actually be here to try and contest this.
Looking at summoners, though, Viper will have his TP up soon. If the fight is delayed long enough, TSM can call down a Viper to join. And you can see with a pretty good lead, even if he has Hullbreaker built up, it's still cost-effective at the moment with the resistance it gives. Shen Yi going over the wall, spotted out by Isles, takes a lot of damage from both King and Isles, so he has to flash away with the Gale Force in. Built over Peacemaker, ice in the hole, kill for King. The Dragon secured as well for C9.
Another kill going over to King. This time around, he started last game 0-5. This time, already getting a kill and getting more damage on the structure. I think the turret goes down in its entirety. So, Cloud9 picking up another Dragon. Continuing to ask TSM questions on how they are actually going to be playing to win. Takeover has not yet shown up.
No, he has. That is the big thing we keep our eyes on consistently and still. Is when do they call and take over? Right now, it is Hyper making these plays. Hyper everywhere across the map. And if they can get a kill on a King, shut him down early with Instinct picking up that kill. These are good situations for TSM.
Ooh, Takeover coming down. We said he would come down with Hyper. He's going to find this on his own.
Oh, that's the easiest kill of his life, too. He, even with the light binding, he's just waiting it out. There he goes. Woo!
Whee! Okay, and lots of turret plates going right on back. Malice is down here. Do they want to try and find Viper? I think they have to, right?
Still taking a drink of water right as that was happening. And it does look like Viper is overextended, but he leaps over the wall, even gets a Goomba Stomp on top of Gromp to get his distance from the two Takey members. That is an issue we do need to address with C9. Alice and Darshan. That's not a lot of damage. Looking at Viper when he has Hullbreaker and nobody nearby him, so he can get all the resistance.
Yeah, the big thing that we're going to have to pay attention to this game is the fact that Cloud9 are walking into a huge power trough. Orianna sucks at this point in the game. Caitlyn sucks at this point in the game. Neither of them do anything. So Cloud9, while they picked up the first dragon, they shouldn't be able to pick up the next one, and maybe the fourth one will go to TSM as well. So strap in, ladies and gentlemen. We are in for another long game.
What do I strap into? I'm standing.
Your shoes? Do you have Velcro?
No, I have laces. I'm not 10 anymore. Yeah, I was once 10 in my life, but I'm not 10 anymore. That's how time works, Josh.
Well, I mean, he was formerly known as Arrow, but he could still be known as Arrow.
That's not how it works!
Are you sure? That definitely seems like how it works. I am still 10, though, so, you know, what do I know?
Are you? No.
I'm younger than you.
I mean, you are younger.
Yeah. No, not that much younger.
People don't realize that I'm actually the oldest of the casters.
True.
People always think that I'm a lot younger.
I thought you were going to say the youngest person as part of this broadcast, because that's not true, and, you know.
No. I know that's not true. But I am the youngest of the casters.
You hear that? You're old.
Anyways, looking back onto the snap, it is not old because we are still only 15 minutes in. With a depth charge onto Isles, double knockup, but Malice is keeping the attention of Instinct this entire time, but that allows Instinct to get the kill with Takeover's assistance. The shockwave onto one member, dodge away for a double kill. Takeover is now taking over. This is when he steps up. This is what we were looking for. He can get flashes out of the members with the shuriken flip. It's a triple kill. He might have died to the turret, but this Akali is now fed.
That's a lot of gold going over to Takeover. Got a bounty, 4-1 at this point, but it's still a lot of trades back and forth, and the shutdown getting picked up for Cloud9 does mean that the gold doesn't change that much from what we were seeing. The biggest place that we were seeing the difference comes out from the actual turrets that are going down at this point. So, I mean, TSM, they have a lot of power. We see a pretty big lead coming out at this point for Hyper over Malice, which is not something we tend to see. And
look at Viper.
Viper is huge. 2 kills just getting picked up effectively when he takes down that structure. So, I was saying this one might be a bit of a longer one, but I was not expecting TSM to suddenly burst into activity and find a huge lead.
Let's take a look at this replay. Shen Yi, this is, again, the communication, the shot calling to start off a lot of these fights.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they give up. There's no way they find their way to King and Isles initially. They need to wait for Hyper to actually participate. And instead, they just turn around and say, hey, we just need to keep Instinct alive for a second, and then we can start looking for the other side of the fight. And that does mean that Malice ends up going down yet again, having a bit of a rough day overall, and now getting chased, going to be chasing off Hyper.
Hyper doesn't have ult nor flash.
Teleports
dodges away from unstoppable onslaught, but here's a teleport everywhere. Shockwave only onto Hyper. Takeover's getting a lot of damage onto Isles, but it's still a 5v4 fight with Isles on the other side, giving shields to the members he needs to. Final spark dodge away by Shen Yi with looking for the double kill. They got it for King, and they're chasing down these members of TSM, but they are all low. You can tell that TSM don't want to just stop just yet.
Look, I hear Twitch chat right now. Meow, meow, meow. They got some kills. How could they be weak at this point in the game? Well, it's the fact that you're fighting over, man. You have extra people at this point in the game, right? It's how it works. Cloud9 are a little bit faster to bring everybody together, and we can see this, right? Look at all the teleports that are instantly committed, and the fact that Shen Yi and Instinct can't really participate in this fight. They are just so far away that by the time Viper and Shen Yi are part of it, the fight is already a 5v4. Isles can play from such a long range away, and realistically, the only HP that matters is the last one. Isles still has 100 of them, so he's good to go.
Plus, we're having King in a far better position. We gotta actually see the power he can provide for a team. 4-2, 2 items completed. At that point, when you feel powerful as Caitlyn, that is why they started up this dragon. It could be them at soul point potential, but TSM aren't just giving it up. Look at where Takeover is. Takeover wants the backline, and he wants King and Isles. It's going to be a dodge away from the light bind. Dodging away from the shockwave too is Hyper and Viper. They've got the kill on a Malice, and here goes Takeover. Copy's low. It's a double kill for Instinct. He dives back in. Even if he gets taken out of the fight, they've got a lot of damage, and they're waiting it out this entire time. Hyper wasn't able to find the angle. This is Cloud9's time to turn it around. Chen Yi, Spider-Man's away, but it's Darshan blowing up the shield for a double kill.
Okay, who's going to get this dragon, though? TSM still have a lot of power. Darshan needs a couple of seconds to back away and reset. He'll teleport right on back to the fight, and it looks like TSM going to have to give this one up despite being the team that still has a jungler. And that's the thing about Cloud9's composition that we said early on. Cloud9, that with such a beefy front line, it is so difficult for the members of TSM to punch their way through both Malice and Darshan. And Darshan able to stand up after Malice was dying. We'll take a look at it in this replay. But once you create this front-to-back style team fight, even with a huge ult coming out from Instinct, King and Isles are able to stand far enough back that even with the constant pressure coming out from Takeover, it's just not enough to actually take them down. Shockwave entirely misses, but Darshan stands tall at the end of the fight and is able to create enough space for both. Oh my god, the ultimate onto a Akali in the middle of the dash. I didn't even notice that part.
Yep. It was big from Darshan there, but also I want to praise King's positioning throughout that entire fight. Takeover was trying so damn hard to get to that Caitlyn, but they had Isles, Darshan right in front of King this entire time, saying, no, Caitlyn's going to survive. You're not going to get assassinated by Akali. And like you said, the unstoppable onslaught used by Darshan just to deny the dash from Takeover.
Just keep him alive. That's all you got to do, and then King should be able to do the rest. So, Baron is the thing that actually starting to come alive on this map. TSM, they are still in a spot where they are ahead. I think it's a mistake to say that they are winning at this point, but they are currently stronger, right? But in a couple of minutes, I don't think they will still, I don't know if that will be true. So it is very tenuous, right? It is a very close position between these two teams. And this is where, these are the kind of games where you have to watch individual members and see who is going to be making the big plays, who is going to be stepping up in order to make the other team uncomfortable. With no teleport on Darshan, it's kind of difficult for him to really do a whole lot in this lane. He's down 80 CS.
Well, plus having a Hull Breaker on the other side for Viper, Trinity Force too. He can do a pretty good job of keeping Darshan pinned back towards his base, towards his turret. And without that TP, it will be Viper who can have these flex angles, these flank angles to join in with the rest of his team.
Yeah, but let's return to our story of the day. How do mid laners stand out? I mean, Copy, he had some pretty good plays early on. He got some great shockwaves, but the last fight kind of missed one. And Takeover wasn't able to get in despite his 3 kills to start off the game. So this is a much quieter game coming out from both of the mid laners, and I have a lot of both of them have a lot of agency in this game. And so I'm again looking for opportunities for Takeover to create that kind of pressure.
Here's DP. It's canceled though. Darshan does not let Viper go and join his team. It will be an attempted fight. The tank, though, he'll be fine. He is not too threatened by Viper.
Yeah, not a lot of play coming through. I didn't see where the teleport was going, but it's definitely a position where Viper no longer has that and will not have it available for the upcoming Dragon or the Baron. But we'll get a quick replay coming. What? Huh?
You guys can't see my face, but I'm very confused.
Well, that...
thank you, observers, for showing us that, because...
That was weird. Oh.
Okay, well, speaking of weird, Chen Yi looks like he's got out. No Spider-Man away. He just dies to Copy.
Yeah, and TSM instantly have to pull off the Baron once Chen Yi is down. Once your linebacker is gone, your quarterbacks don't have anywhere to run to. I think that's how that works. But Cloud9 gonna have to try and run down Viper here, but with control over the Baron buff, they can actually try and do it themselves now that King is on 2.5.
Plus, Viper no longer Mega. This is the time and the window for C9 to make the play around the Baron. Takeover is being completely occupied by Darshan. He can't join this fight, and so Copy, look at this. That's the angle. The shockwave dodged away by Takeover, but Moonlight Vigil not going to connect out of Instinct either. Even though they were able to deny this Baron start from C9, they go right back onto it.
Viper using the Hull Breaker to its full power, but Cloud9 not willing to commit to this. They do not want to take a fight right now. They do not have enough buttons, they feel. They do not have the shockwave. They don't have anything really going for them. And Cloud9, as they back away, are going to be letting TSM start. This is the third start in less than 60 seconds.
And we're only 23.5 minutes into the game. There's the blue trinket used to spot out TSM on this. But they had fully reset. King and Isles are back in the base. It is down to 50%. Copy, you might be nearby, but they don't have a TP from Darshan. They don't have the fight, so they have to use Unstoppable Onslaught just to get him inside of the pit. With 25% remaining on this Baron, the fight on a Mouse who wants to get inside of the pit to smite it away. Shinyi's taken pretty low. It's going to be a smite fight. It's secured by Instinct instead of all people. The jump over the wall coming in from Hyper. He'll survive. TSM somehow come out with the Baron.
Cloud9 going to be looking for multiple people. They're not going to be able to stop Viper there, but Copy getting run down by Takeover.
Doesn't have much mana, but the problem is they saw King nearby, so instead of going for the fight, Takeover has to bail. Even if Baron was secured by TSM, this is a soul for the side of Cloud9. They'll get themselves the Cloud Soul. That is a good power spike, and make sure they have this late game insurance.
Going to be just great having all the extra movement speed that the extra Cloud does provide, right? You need to keep your backline safe. And your ability to position in these fights is going to be consistently crucial. But this was a very chaotic situation. Normally, you're supposed to just turn around and stop hitting the Baron and just hit the enemy members that are in the pit with you. But they end up taking it low enough that Malice forces the issue. He forces a smite fight to happen. Unfortunately, he doesn't quite get it, and it does go over to TSM. But the amount of chaos that Cloud9 were able to create ends up putting that in a situation where they're still fairly comfortable in this game. You know, it's not the easiest thing in the world. They are still down a little bit of gold, but I guarantee that if you ask the objective boundary calculator, it's like, no, I think Cloud9 are winning.
Right, and that's the thing. I'm glad you kind of talked about that, because here, with Instinct dodging away from a lie, he has to flash out of the final spark, the amount of damage. It's still an even game. The gold does not really illustrate how even this is because of that Ocean Soul. This is why TSM are the ones who, even though they have the Baron, they are the ones feeling forced underneath this turret. They've got the pick onto Shinyi. Spider-Man's away, but that's so much attention on to the support. They easily kill him off, while TSM can do nothing on the other side.
Oh, Takeover. Okay, he should be all right, but that's a lot of pressure that Cloud9 are going to be able to put onto TSM, while TSM are the ones with the Baron. I don't know what Viper's planning to do here. He doesn't have Mega just quite yet, so doesn't have a real opportunity to jump over the wall and be threatening. So Cloud9 going to be picking up another turret.
Doing its best to get towards Mega. Life Binding connects with the Shockwave 2. No time to go Mega. It's a shutdown for C9, and they have pushed back TSM. The Baron be damned. It's doing nothing to help them out right now because they've got the picks they need to, and they are the ones knocking on the door of TSM.
The inhibitor is going to be going down while TSM have the Baron, might I remind you. TSM going to be trying to find some way in. And Shenyi struggling a lot this game. He's trying to find a lot of flank angles, but it hasn't been working out. They just don't have the follow-up this game like they did last time. And Takeover, nowhere near is able to step up and have the same kind of impact on this game because he's not able to get into the same kind of angles. And Akali not looking as good as the Ahri.
It isn't, and it's unfortunate. He is trying. He really is trying to find these angles. There's so much to kite him back. Right there, he was looking for King, but unfortunately couldn't get that Birkin flip to connect to King to follow up afterwards. And all the while, on the other side, while Takeover has been trying to have these plays work out, Poppy has been slowly getting himself back into the game. He's now 5-1-8. 3 items on this Orianna. You talked about the trough. When Orianna and Caitlyn both suffer, we're long since past that.
Yeah, we're on the other side. We climbed out of all the pig feed, and now we get to bask in the sun. And it is so difficult for either of these champions to get taken down by the members of TSM because this front line takes forever to kill.
Speaking of taking forever to kill, Darshan got a lot of attention there from Viper. He goes Mega. It doesn't really matter too much to Darshan. He's the beefy frontline. Soon will be a Flame Horizon for Viper, but what does it matter when you have a Scion who just stands in front of a Caitlyn and allows the Caitlyn to get all the farm.
Well, we'll see. Are there any teleport wards? There are not. Takeover cannot find an easy flank. Cloud9 going to be continuing to move in. Notice that Malice is the one who is not currently here. This is probably his smallest CS lead at 28 minutes this entire season thus far. But Cloud9 is actually getting collapsed upon. The Flangles.
Oh. Look, I think it's the other way around. I think it's TSM who are getting collapsed upon. Hyper and Shen Yi are long ways away from their entire team, and Shen Yi, the first casualty, King's unstoppable. Hyper might have used the ult to get himself a little bit of distance, but they can chase him down with the stuns from a different Baron in Malice, and they've got the stuns from Darshan, they've got the roots from Isles. They can continue to bounce around this bear for a kill. With them stunned, they're just taking their time. They're playing with their food. The Sky Splitter shield is nothing. Even with the stun, they can finish him off with the root. They are
they're waiting
their
for the Baron.
time. Right, that's what I was about to say. They're wasting the time of Hyper. That's why he goes towards the turret.
Okay, they just wanted to keep him alive for as long as possible. 44 seconds. He will be dead for almost the entire duration before the Baron actually spawns. Like, normally that's BM, but I actually think this time was really smart coming out from the members of Cloud9.
I agree. I think that's you need to do that. Killing people right away sometimes is not actually as effective.
Yeah.
Making sure that he's not here to set up around the vision of a Baron, then when he spawns, it's not really going to be enough time for him to book it straight to the Baron to contest.
So Cloud9 in firm control of the Baron side of the map when it actually spawns. 18 seconds left, and Cloud9 finally taking down the outer turret up in the top side. And again, going back to our initial question, how does Copy stand out in games where Malice is just putting a clock on the enemy team? Well, it's like this, right? He's 5-1-8, 7-2-5 on King's Caitlyn. They are now in control of the Baron. They are going to be hitting it, and Cloud9 having Copy teleport over just means that TSM in a very tough spot to even walk up to this objective.
Here's Hyper. Hyper is booking it. He's pretty fast on the spare. It's down to 25%, but C9 peel off. They noticed there could have been an answer from TSM. Instead, they want the fight. They've got so much damage onto these members of TSM, and there's no longer the engage on the other side. Shen Yi's completely out of this fight. The shockwave onto the bear, who just respawned, and now without a smite, that is going to be C9 back on Baron.
Cloud9 also going to be having their inhibitor turrets pressured, but the Elder Dragon has spawned as well. The Baron is going to be going down, and TSM should be losing both of these major objectives. At least they get the bottom lane inhibitor, but going up against both a Baron and an Elder Dragon is not something that's going to be easy for them to do, and they just need to make sure they don't lose more members so they can try and go a Hail Mary for this objective.
Let's say the Hail Mary might even just be for a backdoor. Here comes the TP from Takeover on the other side. Viper won't be mega by the time he gets towards this fight. Light Binding might not connect onto Takeover, but those headshots certainly do. And the flash in from Viper, but he has so little damage. Nobody was there to capitalize on his R ult. All the while, it's instinct fighting with Malice, and Malice finally falls in the fight. It's a 1-for-1 at the moment with Takeover, flashing away, doing his damnedest dodge away with an ult as well. Shuriken flip right back to a godlike King.
Crazy stuff coming through. 9-2-6 on King. 6-1-10 on Copy. They're going to be hitting up the Elder Dragon while they have the Baron buff, and just taking down the solo laners once again. This calm and controlled playstyle coming through for Cloud9 means that they are going to be in firm control of this game. Trying to make sure that Hyper can't get anywhere close. It's already hard for Hyper to go for a steal going up against the Cloud9 members, but with no opportunity to even walk close to the Elder Dragon means that they are going to secure both objectives. And Darshan, where are you going? Where are you going, buddy?
Choo-choo!
Well, we're going to
All right,
replay.
let's get back into the replay. Yeah, let's look at this. Nothing really happened with him chugging along into mid lane. Instead, it is a great team fight from Cloud9. Even if Malice dies, look at how much attention he drew from Instinct.
Yeah, just the fact that he's able to challenge the Aphelios while Aphelios has White Gun is pretty impressive in its own right, considering that Malice is 0-4, right? He doesn't have that much money compared to what you would normally expect the Udyr to have at, this kind of game. So at Cloud9, with both buffs ticking away, they have a little more than a minute left on the Baron buff and about a minute and a half left for their Elder Dragon. So they have quite a bit of time to play with this. This should be at least 2 inhibitors going down for TSM, and I'm curious if they try and defend either.
I also like that Cloud9 are hitting the lane that Viper was able to open up. Getting this bot lane turret getting this inhibitor as well is going to make it so that backdoor potential that Viper was setting up is completely gone. There's no fight there for the side of TSM, even though all 5 members are up. Cloud9 are purely looking for the end of the game. Shen Yi went to the backline, but that's a lot of damage on the other side. Ye flashed in, double kill for Hyper. This Elder Dragon might have gotten the kill onto Shen Yi. The shockwave from Copy. He's got to be the hero to save the day. Takeover's gone. They've got the kill onto Instinct, and with Darshan in the middle of everybody absorbing so much pressure, Viper couldn't do enough with that ult. It's a triple kill from Copy.
Great play coming out from TSM to find both King and Isles, but at the end of the day, Copy stands tall, 9-1 and 11, 20 kill participation over the course of this game, and Copy looking big. We were asking how does he stand out? Well, the answer is you just kill everyone in every team fight today, Magical, and they're going to take this series 2-0 in some of our longest games that we've had this entire season.
This series might be one of our longest ones we've had to date in our spring split. We'll have to do the numbers to see exactly which one is longer, but Cloud9, 2-0, well-fought games in both times. And for the side of TSM, they did great in Game 1. Game 2 was a bit of a struggle. You could see the bot lane really didn't have that same impact as previously. But that was really because Cloud9 were able to do so well in those strengths they had with the Caitlyn Lux the second time around.
And there you have it, right? Cloud9 just looking really good through and through. Every single time they always ask, are there going to be any teams that can challenge us in the laning phase? Are there going to be teams that can challenge us later on in the game? And the answer is there aren't many that can do it. TSM tried. They put Cloud9 in some uncomfortable positions this time around, just like they did against CLG last week. But it just wasn't quite enough as the resiliency of the Cloud9 roster maintains its winning streak coming through. And I gotta say, I'm excited for the way that Cloud9 is going to be playing out the rest of the season. They come in with a lot of veterans. They should be expecting a very strong finish in the Academy split going into Proving Grounds. And I feel like they're kind of living up to the hype.
Yeah. And the thing is, even though they have all these veterans on the side of Cloud9, it was Copy who was the hero in games 1 and 2. Game 1, much more throughout the entirety of that game. We really got to see that on Corki. Game 2, he did struggle a bit in the early stages. He wasn't able to fully have that same impact. But once he got a couple items, even that last fight, where it almost seemed like TSM could have dragged that back. But then Copy shows up with the shockwaves, the amount of damage he's able to provide for the team to split apart TSM is why we keep hyping him up.
And we'll keep hyping him up, right? As long as they are going to continue winning, it's going to be an opportunity for them to continue getting accolades. And I think when we see Copy continue to play, right, he's been saying a number of times he wants to not just be the facilitative jungle for the rest of his career like he has been on multiple rosters. He was doing it for Cloud9 last year. He was doing it for 100 Thieves Next the year prior. Now he's trying to be his own man and step up and make sure that everybody has all eyes on him.
And with that, it's a 2-0 victory for Cloud9. We're going to toss it to a break. When we come back, we'll have Pazel here for an interview. Make sure you stay tuned.
I love these.
Hello, welcome everyone. We are back, and I'm so excited. I get to talk to King from Cloud9 Academy, my dude. Especially off of some pop-up performance like that. I need my King check-in. How are you doing, dude?
I'm alright. Like, I mean, I don't know what to say. I think that game I didn't play very. I mean, I think both games I didn't play very well, but obviously the second game was better than the first where I entered.
Were you into still coming away with crazy kills? It was just crazy to me to see the early game and then transition into the late game where you're just hard carrying fights, especially with a little bit of that lack of attention from TSM. But for you as a whole, King, right? Like, this split has been a little bit crazy, a little bit tumultuous. I need to know what's your day-to-day like? What are you doing on a daily basis to make sure you're ready for these games?
I guess a lot of my practice or what I'm working on is just like individual, like it's either solo queue or champions queue. I've been playing more solo queue than champions queue recently because I've been trying to practice new champs.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, champions queue. It's like
okay.
at the start I was playing a lot of champions queue, and then I'm like, wait a second, I've literally only played 2 champions out of 20 games. So I'm like, I'm gonna play some solo queue to work on some different champs. But yeah, a lot of what I do to get better is mainly just watching and just practicing on my own.
Okay. So how do you feel about that situation you're in? Do you just try to make the most of it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best way you can put it. Like, I haven't scrimmed that much. I think in the past 2 weeks, I've only played 1 scrim set, I think. So, I mean, I think it's pretty evident that, like, I'm not very well-versed in some of the matchups. Like, I think if it's not a Jinx affiliates matchup, I'm pretty shaky on it, but I think as I play them, I get better and I learn more. Like, obviously, I think there was a big difference between the first and the second game in this series, for example, right? I think my laning got a lot better.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just gotta learn how to adapt fast.
Interesting. Okay, so then now we're over halfway into the academy split. How do you feel about the structure for Cloud9 Academy and the kind of way that you fit into it?
I think, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's just like we're pretty much doing the same thing, right? Like the C9 Academy scrim, the LCS team a lot. They're just getting better because obviously that's a really good scrim partner, right? I think,
Yeah.
I mean, the trajectory is just going to keep going up, and I just need to keep up with everyone else, right? Because, you know, they're the ones playing against the LCS team. I'm just like watching, so I just have to work on myself and make sure like
I guess I get better. I mean, specifically, I need to get better at these lane matchups that are like really. I mean, I'm getting Caitlyn for some reason, and then it's like that champion's always been in champions queue, so I can't really practice in champions queue. So I'm like sort of like I'm pretty much first timing it on stage.
Wow, that's really interesting to hear. Like the adaptation now, you playing more solo queue because you can bring out a lot of those champions. I always think that give and take is so interesting. I just wanted to give you the stage here, King. What is your goal by the end of 2022? What do you want to accomplish as a player?
I mean, I want to win everything, right? I want to win both the academy splits. I want to win both premium rounds, and ultimately, I think it's everyone's goal, right, to make it to LCS. And yeah, I mean, I really want to make it back to LCS.
I love to hear it, man. I love to hear it. A personal little aside question. I haven't gotten to talk to you. What is your favorite animal? So I can put you up on the tier list.
I think.
Yeah, what you got?
As of right now, my favorite animal is probably the duck. I think a duck. Ducks are my favorite animal.
Oh my god, that is unique. All right, that might be going up there for the tier list. I gotta say,
ducks are really cute.
One last little moment here. Yeah. Hey, I can appreciate some duck content, man. What do you got to say? Do you have any things to say to your fans? Anybody you want to shout out here before we let you go?
I mean, I guess everyone that's supporting C9. I mean, obviously it's been a very I would say tumultuous few days for C9 as of recent. But yeah, I just like to thank everyone that is still supporting C9. I really support C9. I love this org. They've done a lot for like all the players, a lot for me. So yeah, I'm just thankful for anyone that is still supporting through C9 through these hard times.
Thank you so much, King. I appreciate your words. It was such a pleasure to get to talk to you, man. And I hope you enjoy these wins and come back ready tomorrow.
Yep. Thanks.